Good afternoon, members and friends of Calvary. Time for your video devotion of the week. Today, it actually comes from tomorrow's devotion, if you're on the church Bible reading schedule. That is 2 Timothy chapter 4. And before I get into the verses, the question that has eluded mankind for generations is, what came first, the chicken or the egg? And it's always a debate you can go round and round about. But in our text this morning or this afternoon, I'd like to challenge us with something. In verse number 16, the Apostle Paul says this, "At my first answer, no man stood with me, but all men forsook me. I pray God that it might not be laid to their charge." So the Apostle Paul is writing to young Timothy, encouraging him. 2 Timothy is known to be the last writings of the Apostle Paul. And so he's encouraging him, and he's, I fought a good fight, I finished the course, I've kept the faith. But not only does he say that, he says in the text, not only did I finish, there's a whole lot of people that didn't finish with me. They betrayed me, they walked away from me. The biblical word he uses is forsook me. They deemed something else and someone else more valuable, more important. The Apostle Paul took that personally. They didn't just forsake God, he had felt like they had forsaken him. And yet, the very next statement, it says, "I pray God that it may not be laid to their charge." The Apostle Paul says, I don't want it held against him. I don't want God to get him. I want God to forgive him. I want God to use him. And so my thought was, what a blessing that at the end of Paul's life, he's still not bitter. He's still joyful. He's still forgiving. And then it was like the Lord said, that's the chicken before the egg, or the egg before the chicken. The truth is, probably the reason why he made it to the end was because he wasn't bitter and he was willing to forsake. All men will forsake us at some point in time. Everybody will disappoint us at some point in time. And so we need to learn to forgive. How do we do that? Very next verse. "Notwithstanding, the Lord stood with me." And so just a challenge today. Everybody's going to disappoint you in some way or another. God never will. And if you will intentionally pray for those people and not get bitter, God will use you. And maybe you too one day can say, I have fought a good fight. I have finished my course. I have kept the faith.